up, Legends Tags, with RWL Hall of Famers Big Jim Hondo and the Great Ramullah facing the intimidating pair of Bulldog Brower and George the Animal Steele.
And I've been looking forward to this one. Hondo and Ramullah, real popular with the fans still after all these years. It's going to be a great matchup.
The following tag team contest is set for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing first at a combined weight of 486 pounds from Kona, Hawaii, Big Jim Hondo, and from Hyderabad, India, the Great Ramullah. Before social media and YouTube, and long before the originals dominated the tag team landscape, the Hawaiian Lion Big Jim Hondo and the star of Hyderabad, the Great Ramullah, were the dominant tag team in RWL for nearly a decade during the early 2000s. Just before the MySpace years.
And, like the originals, Hondo and Ramullah love a good fight, and man, they're sure gonna get one with Bulldog Brower and George the Animal Steele.
And Brower and Steele are going to get a good fight from Hondo and Ramullah too. These guys do not fool around. Oh, hell, fire!
Their opponents, accompanied by Captain Albano, at a combined weight of 590 pounds, from Dover, Delaware, Dick the Bulldog Brower, and from Detroit, Michigan, George the Animal Steele.
Two dogs so wild that only Captain Albano could keep them on a leash. George the Animal Steele and Dick the Bulldog Brower, man, what a pair these two making, huh? They're going to have their hands full with the Hawaiian Lion and the Great Ramullah tonight.
It's not gonna be a cakewalk for either one of these teams, and of course, I'm leaning towards Hondo and Ramullah for the win.
Same here, but it's like you said, it's not gonna be one of those short, over with far too quick kind of matches.
All right, looks like we got the chores divided up. It's going to be Big Jim Hondo and Dick the Bulldog Brower starting us off here in this tag team matchup. Referee Willie Johnson sounds the bell. Brower charges, misses with a double axe handle. Big Jim Hondo has him up, but Bulldog Brower counters inverted DDT. Bulldog Brower delivers a kick, has Hondo up, slams him down. Big Jim Hondo right back up on his feet again. Oh, man, Brower's got him by the throat. One arm choke slam countered by Big Jim Hondo. How about that? Didn't even see it happen. Wow. Big Jim Hondo taken down by Bulldog Brower. Brower rounds him up again. Whips him towards his team's corner, much to the delight of Captain Albano. Brower whipped to the opposing team's corner by Big Jim Hondo. Brower counters and escapes the corner. And counter whips Big Jim Hondo into his team's corner again. Big Jim Hondo counters one more time. Back suplex. The Bulldog Brower from Big Jim Hondo to break the monotony. Good, because they was going to be whipping each other back and forth into the corner all night long. Hondo with a clothesline to the back of the head of Bulldog Brower. Dick the Bulldog Brower laid out by Big Jim Hondo. The Hawaiian Lion follows it up with a stomp. Starts going to work on the limbs of Dick the Bulldog Brower. Brower whipped to the opposing team's corner. Brower counters and escapes the corner. Spins Hondo around. Whips him to his team's corner. Hondo counters and escapes the corner, and here we go again. Bulldog Brower whipped into the opposing team's corner. Only this time there's a tag. Here comes the Great Ramullah, and here comes a double team. Drop toe holding an elbow across the back of the head for Dick the Bulldog Brower as the Great Ramullah whips Brower out over the top rope and onto the floor. Big Jim Hondo and the Great Ramullah not doing too badly for themselves right now. in control of Bulldog Brower, which is a hard thing to do. Brower counters, gets back up on his feet. The great Ramullah counters. They tussle. Brower shoves Ramullah down. Ramullah counters. Nails him with a couple of hard rights. The great Ramullah drives a knee into the back of Bulldog Brower. Towards the Animal Steele. Getting restless. That could be dangerous right there. Bulldog Brower takes him down with an elbow. Bulldog Brower rounds up the great Ramullah. Ramullah counters with a slap. Takes him down. Captain Albano getting a little too close for comfort. Ramullah drives another knee into the back. Follows it up with a Russian leg sweep. Bulldog Brower taking a beating as referee Willie Johnson continues to count. The great Ramullah counters again. Up over the shoulders, slammed down by Bulldog Brower. The great Ramullah rounded back up again, rolled back inside the ring, and finally, everybody's back in order here. Bulldog Brower starting to get fired up, and that's dangerous for Ramullah. Ramullah counters with a left, puts Brower in the corner. Brower counters and escapes the corner. He's got an eagle eye about getting out of them corners, man. Wow. Bulldog Brower with a fist drop right across the head of the great Ramullah. Ramullah rounded back up. Bulldog Brower, there we go. Tongan death grip. He's going to try and choke out a win here. The great Ramullah fighting it. There he goes. He counters and escapes that hold. That could have been disastrous. Ramullah whipped to the opposing team's corner, and here we go. Dick the Bulldog Brower and George the Animal Steele have invited the great Ramullah to a boot party as the guest of dishonor, and they are leaving all kinds of boot prints on the Star of Hyderabad, just taking blind tag turns, just stomping away. And here's the payoff, the final. That low basement dropkick. Out comes the great Ramullah out of the corner, and somehow there's a chair in there. Animal Steele covers 1, 2, only 2, a near fall. Somehow Captain Albano managed to smuggle that chair in there when nobody was looking. Ramullah with an arm drag. George the Animal Steele whips Ramullah out onto the floor. The great Ramullah laid out on the wrong side of town between George the Animal Steele and Bulldog Brower. There's a jawjacker for the Animal. A right for Bulldog Brower, but George the Animal Steele trying to regain control of things here. And he is just beating on the great Ramullah. Drives a knee into the back. George the Animal Steele trying to rally some support from the fans, I guess. The great Ramullah taking a beating here at the hands of George the Animal Steele, with Captain Albano just looking on with the best seat in the house. Ramullah back inside the ring, makes the tag. Here comes Big Jim Hondo. Hondo runs into a brick wall on George the Animal Steele. George has him up. Big Jim Hondo counters with elbows, gets himself free. Again, runs into a clothesline. He can't seem to phase George the Animal Steele. Wow. Big Jim Hondo with an elbow. Finally takes him down with an elbow. George the Animal Steele whips Big Jim Hondo to his team's corner. Bulldog Brower holding him steady while George the Animal Steele drives a knee into the midsection and follows it up with a DDT. Big Jim Hondo in big trouble from the tag onward. Whipped into the opposing team's corner again. And set up on the top turnbuckle. George the Animal Steele not content with the turnbuckle here. He's gonna drop him on a top rope superplex. 10 feet up and 10 feet down. Express elevator to hell for Big Jim Hondo. And the crowd's just eating it up, but Big Jim Hondo is not a happy person right now. Hondo quickly counters George the Animal Steele. The Animal counters with a wild elbow to the face. Hondo counters with a right. Has George the Animal Steele up, 305 pounds, slammed right down to the mat. Look at this, rounds him back up, beautiful roll. And a beautiful Death Valley driver from Big Jim Hondo, the Hawaiian Lion, is lit up here. George the Animal Steele counters, takes him down with a clothesline. George the Animal Steele countered. Big Jim Hondo rounds him up, but the Animal counters into a neckbreaker drop. Referee Willie Johnson continuing to count here. Hondo counters with the left. The Animal counters with a kick to the midsection. George the Animal Steele with another neckbreaker on Big Jim Hondo. Hondo catches the right, gets spun around. Another backbreaker from George the Animal Steele. A back body drop counter as Big Jim Hondo hustles his way back inside the ring. Blue Albano helping up George the Animal Steele. The Great Ramullah comes in on the tag. George the Animal Steele on Dream Street. Referee Willie Johnson continuing to count. The Animal finally makes his way back inside in time. The Great Ramullah waiting right there for him, whips him into the corner. Clothesline takes down George the Animal Steele. The Great Ramullah stalking the Animal. Up over the shoulders. George the Animal Steele counters with elbows. Separates himself from the Great Ramullah. Follows it up with a DDT. Face first into the canvas went the Great Ramullah. George the Animal Steele has him up, a power bomb with a pin. 1, 2. Then turns it into a... Oh, well, there goes the referee. It doesn't matter what he turned it into. The Boston Crab means nothing. Referee Willie Johnson finally coming back to his senses. George the Animal Steele wearing out the Great Ramullah. Ramullah makes his way back to his feet. Counters with a kick to the midsection. Whips George the Animal Steele to his team's corner. And here we go, another double team. Here's the drop toe hold. Here's the elbow across the back. Big Jim Hondo celebrating, but here comes Dick the Bulldog Brower. Down he goes. Big Jim Hondo counter. Clothesline. And another one. Rebound off the ropes. And a heel kick that takes down Dick the Bulldog Brower. Brower rounded back up. Here we go. Oh man. DDT. Face first into the canvas. The Great Ramullah watching as his partner goes to... Here we go. Here's a boot party in retaliation to Dick the Bulldog Brower as the Great Ramullah and Big Jim Hondo take turns putting some boot prints on the chest of Dick the Bulldog Brower to remember them by. Oh, man. Okay. Hard whip. Basement drop kick. Dick the Bulldog Brower rolls out of the corner. Ramullah goes for the cover, hooks the leg. 1, 2. Oh, man. Brower finding his way out of the pin somehow, some way. The Great Ramullah says, that's all right. We'll just pick up where we left off. Brower counters with an arm drag. George the Animal Steele getting all kinds of crazy back there. Ramullah back on his feet. Bulldog Brower gets taken down with a clothesline. There's the second one. Ramullah rebounds off the ropes and a heel kick. And again, down goes Bulldog Brower just about center ring. Ramullah rounds him up. An arm drag from Bulldog Brower. And again, here's the Tongan death grip. The Great Ramullah in serious trouble here. That is it. Referee Willie Johnson says he is done. That is all. Brower and Steele win this one by knockout, I think.
At 11 minutes and 9 seconds, referee Willis Johnson declares Great Ramullah unable to continue. Your winners, by way of a knockout, Bulldog Brower and George the Animal Steele.
Well, guys, it's a pretty low thing when you've got to strangle a win out of an opponent instead of trying to get a pinfall or a submission, and that's what Bulldog Brower just went on ahead and did. Just choked out the Great Ramullah.
You've got to feel badly for Ramullah. That's got to be a humiliating thing. Waking up to find out that the fight is over and that you lost. Bulldog Brower straight choking out the Great Ramullah for the win. And we'll be back with more RWL Snarl after this.